welcome to another episode of Cocktails and Controllers. I'm Kennedy, this is Marisa. We are your hosts, and this week we are covering Life is Strange Before the Storm. Continuing in our trend from last week when we covered the first Life is Strange, this time we are playing Before the Storm, which is the prequel. This is, by the way, a game where we get drunk and retell your favorite video games, possibly ruining them for all time. Please be aware of spoilers and general foul language and other adult topics, probably. Marisa, what are you drinking today?
Okay, I have a myriad of things. I have a rum and coke, as per usual, in this beautiful Naruto cup that you gave me.
That's right.
I also have a Smirnoff Ice that I was drinking earlier that I haven't finished yet.
Nice.
But I will be finishing, and then I also have the customary Fireball in my Zarya shot glass.
Oh, I didn't realize it was Zarya. I love that. So I am doing my pineapple rum cream again, which is there's still some left from like the last time we did it. So as per the last suggestion, I am actually going to be pouring it in here and sipping it through a straw because we classy like that. I do also have the return of my boob shot glass. It's not that big,
Beautiful.
But I'm also going to be drinking this prickly pear vodka. So this is actually how much is left. That doesn't seem like a lot. So it's not. we'll find out by the end of the night. By the end of this episode, we will find out. All right, should we start off with a customary shot?
Yep, I got mine.
Well, let me actually pour
ready.
this one. I have not poured it.
That's fair, yeah.
Wait, kanpai, right? Because we're
Cheers.
nerds. Weebs.
Yeah.
Weebs, kanpai.
Kampai.
Alright, so Life is Strange Before the Storm, from the official Square Enix website, features Chloe Price, a 16-year-old rebel who forms an unlikely friendship with Rachel Amber, a beautiful and popular girl destined for success. When Rachel's world is turned upside down by a family's secret, it takes their newfound alliance to give each other the strength to overcome their demons. Alright, so we start off in, like, Oregon, right? And we're in Arcadia Bay, before everything goes to shit, before Max comes back and is like, well, I'm gonna fuck everything up by sending a tornado in here. And either way, somebody dies. So the whole thing starts off where Chloe's, like, all badass, right? And she's standing in front of this train. And she's just, like, waiting for it to run her over, right? And then when it comes up, it's like, whoop, nope, not today, Satan. So that, like, do you remember that? It's like the very opening scene where, like, she's, like, smoking a cigarette and, like, the train's coming and it's like, Mah! And then she's just, like, standing there being, like, all chill, like, with her cigarette, right? And then as it comes up, like, the train's honking, it's, like, screeching on the brakes, and then she, like, steps out of the way and she goes, like, pew.
Vaguely, now that you said that, I vaguely remember it.
You'll see it down there. Chloe is on her way to go see this concert, right? Because it's like some rock band that she really likes. I don't remember the name of them. You'll see that there.
Dropkick Murphys. I don't know.
Is it? Okay, see, now
No,
I'm catching that.
that's a real band.
So anyway, she's gonna go see this band, right? And it's like some punk rock indie band who are playing in this, like, abandoned warehouse. And so she, like, really wants to get in, right? And so you have to, like, go up to the bouncer, and this is, like, where we're introduced to, like, Chloe's quote-unquote superpower. In Life is Strange, the first one, Max has the rewind powers. Chloe's is apparently, like, backtalk. Yeah, so you basically have to, like, shit talk with the other person. They'll be like, oh, haha, okay, I'll let you in. Or it's basically, like, her convincing power. You can either get in, I think, like, one of two ways. I know that one is that you have to, like, backtalk with the bouncer at the front door, who's this really cool, like, Samoan dude, by the way. I think he's Samoan, don't quote me on that. But he's got, like, the tattoos.
This kid in my high school he was Samoan, and he literally just had a tattoo on his arm that just said Samoa.
Dude, that's dope.
He was, like, the football captain, and he taught everyone the haka, so before every football game, the entire team would do a haka.
Nice.
Anyway, that's my story.
That's a dope as hell story. Okay, so you get into like this abandoned warehouse or whatever, and then there's a point I know where you get to like steal a t-shirt. I don't remember if we stole the t-shirt or not. Or I
don't think we did.
I don't think we did either, because I think we felt guilty about it.
Yeah, too good.
Yeah. Oh, and that's like, this is also the first time where you get to meet Frank.
Yeah.
I think that was like the first time I kind of got like a good glimpse of like Frank as a person. Just because like in the first Life is Strange, you kind of only get to interact with him like as an asshole, and the only glimpse that you get of him like as a person is when you discover that like he adopted his dog, and it's like a very sweet story. But like in this one, I think you get like a better look of who he is as a person, because like you find out that like he's Chloe's like weed dealer, and then like that he owes her, like she owes him money and shit like that, and like you can be like, oh, you can spot me somewhere, whatever, and he's like, bitch, you owe me $1,500, and she's like, oh shit, rest in peace. And then so she just like without getting weed. She ends up going upstairs, right? Because she tries to go through like the mosh pit or whatever, and then ends up spilling beer on this dude's like shirt. And then like while she's upstairs, she's like all jamming out and whatever, and then like the two dudes come back, and they're like, you little bitch, you spilled my drink on my shirt, so we're gonna beat you up for it. All right. I'm assuming that's what they were gonna do, because I'm sure they had more sinister intentions. We're just gonna go with the beating up part. So they're gonna like beat her up or whatever, and then like Rachel comes in and she's like, get lost, motherfuckers. And then she and Chloe manage to get back downstairs, and then that's where you kind of see, I think, where Frank comes in. You're like, okay, this dude's starting to be a little bit more redeemable from the first game, because he's the one who kind of like gets between like Rachel and Chloe, and then the two dudes, and he's like, oh, whoa, man, no, not today.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh. Scene will be right there. Like it's the next day or whatever, and so Chloe has to go to school, and this is where I thought David was like redeemable. In the first game he was redeemable just because like he saved Max from the dark room over, and it was like, okay, you can see that he's like really trying his best, despite the fact that his best is like right there, and like yeah. And then he's like such an asshole to Chloe, and like before the storm, I'm like, screw you, David. Like I don't like you anymore, because he was like, oh, Chloe, you just need discipline, whatever. He's like, you've had enough of a vacation from not having a father figure, and I was like, first of all, it's not a vacation. Her father fucking died. That shit's traumatic. You don't just be like, oh, you're having a vacation. Shut the fuck up, David. That's not a thing.
Doesn't he want to send her to military school or something?
I think
Or was that in the first one?
No, I think that was touched upon in Before the Storm, maybe.
I don't remember, but I feel like that happened.
I feel like
at
that
some point
too. I think it might be like right before she gets kicked out of Blackwell, because at this point she hasn't been kicked out yet. So she and David get to school, and then it's kind of like on social media that like Chloe was out with Rachel, and Rachel is like this ultra popular like girl, and which is curious to me, the fact that she really likes Chloe. And I feel like that's kind of like a stereotype that you see, or I guess a trope that you see in a lot of like media, where it's like, oh, the popular girl like friends like the trouble child, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because like oh, they're different, and it's like, oh, I want that difference. I have a lot more to say on that trope, but that's a whole other topic. But so anyway, Rachel and Chloe, they decide that they're gonna be like, hey, screw class, let's go ditch somewhere. And then you end up like going to, I think, the junkyard. Oh, that's where you hop on the train. That's where you go train hopping for the first time, and that's where you share the music.
I love that scene. Yeah, I love that scene a lot.
I think we literally just like let it play all the way, because it was just like, I think it's also like a very iconic scene from Before the Storm. Like, because every time I see like promo art or whatever it is, it's always like the two of them sitting on that cargo train, and they're both listening to music together. But Life is Strange does a really, really good job of integrating those scenes. Like, it feels natural, and it makes you want to experience the game for what it is.
Not to say that Life is Strange doesn't.
That's also true, yeah.
Like, this soundtrack is better in Before the Storm.
Yeah, I have the soundtrack for Before the Storm, and it's really, really good. I find myself listening to it, like, very, very often.
I'm kind of mad that I didn't get the special edition, because it came with, like, vinyl of the soundtrack, and that would have been dope.
So, anyway, so they're off the train, and they're, like, walking up, like, this park or whatever, and they find, like, one of those, like, viewfinder things, the one where you slip a quarter in, and then you can, like, see. They're basically, they're glorified binoculars that you have to, like, pay for, essentially. Like, I think as Chloe first, you see this man and a woman, and they're, like, kissing in the park, and Chloe is like, oh, dude, like, there's two people kissing, because they're, like, playing this game or whatever, like, you make up whatever the people are saying. And then so Rachel, like, looks in, and she gets, like, all pissed off or whatever, and you're like, what the hell? And then she's like, what the fuck? She's like, that's my dad, and he's kissing some strange lady that's, like, not my mom. Spoiler alert, it is her mother, but her biological mother. So Rachel gets, like, all pissed off or whatever, and she, like, kicks over, I think, something, and I think it's, like, a barbecue.
I thought she was smoking, and she threw it in the trash can, and then she kicked over the trash can.
It might be that.
Isn't that? I think that's what happened. I don't remember.
It's probably that. Trash can goes up in flames. She gets so angry, and then she, like...
They stole the alcohol, or you could choose to steal the alcohol.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You could steal it from that family.
Yeah. The fucking family. That's so mean.
Or, like, campers or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they, like, steal, like, wine from his family or the campers or whatever it is. She, like, kicks over, like, this trash can or whatever, and this tree goes, like, up in flames and basically causes a wildfire.
They go back to school, then the principal calls them in to, like, tell them off for ditching, because they were gone, like, the entire day, like on the train and stuff, and having good times until the fire incident.
Yep.
And then they go back to the scrapyard for whatever reason, and that's where Chloe finds the truck that she starts to fix up. Right. She puts, like, shit in it. Like, then she finds, like, a carpet or something, and she, like, puts it in the bottom, because there's holes in it, and then a little, like, thing that she puts on the dashboard, a little Hawaiian girl or something, I don't remember. But, yeah, she finds all the shit in the junkyard. Yeah, she finds it all in the junkyard and puts it in the truck to make it look nicer, because it's, like, a trashy truck. But then that's where she starts to fix it up, and then,
Wait, can we skip back to the whole truck thing? Because, like, I love that the junkyard introduces where Chloe got her truck from. And, like, it also, like, solidifies David's point earlier in the game where he was, like, saying, like, oh, you're actually really good at cars. Like, you know, if you applied yourself, you would, like, you could actually make something of yourself. And Chloe's just like, whatever, fuck you. It amuses me that, like, they never discuss, like, when Chloe gets the truck working, like, does she have to, like, register this truck? Like... What? Like, did she just, like, drive it or whatever? Like, because I guarantee that she couldn't have just showed up at her house with David there and her mother and being like, oh, by the way, I have this truck now. I found it in the junkyard and fixed it up. I guarantee David would have been like, well, where's your driver's license? Where's the car registration? Do you have insurance?
Where's your fucking tags?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
I feel like
that's a good question.
Between, like, Before the Storm and, like, the first game, there was, like, a gap of time where I feel like he would have made her do that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's fair. He definitely would. I can see that happening.
Spoilers, though, for Life is Strange 2. I like that they went with, like, the theme of, like, dads and cars. Oh. But we'll get there because... It's gonna...
Damn.
That's a hell of a spoiler, so I'm not gonna say anything more.
But anyway, she gets a call from Frank, who is talking about her settling the debt with him, and then I think they arrange a meeting somewhere to discuss how she's going to pay him back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay.
And he tells her to steal money from some kid at school, right? And I remember she goes back to school, she finds the kid's brother, right? She's friends with the kid's brother.
Oh,
that's the kid they play D&D with.
Yeah, that's like Steph's friend, because then you can, like, there's an opportunity where you can play D&D in the game.
Yeah, that was fun. We did that. Yeah. But then you find out that his brother they fucking broke his legs or something, because he's in debt to another drug dealer. And he has the money to pay him back, but he already broke his legs. Or has he not broke his legs yet? I don't remember. Something happens, but I know he breaks his legs.
Yeah.
And then you could steal the money, and then you find out that this kid also has a debt to this other drug dealer, and that's why he's out of commission, is because his legs are broken and he can't play football. And then you have a moral choice to either give the money back or to give it to Frank and like pay off your debts.
I think you and I chose not to give it to Frank because
we give it back.
Real bad for this kid.
He was super sad because they couldn't even afford like a dorm room for him. He was just sleeping in his brother's dorm.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, I think they lost their house or something like that, and so they would say like, oh, my brother is just like visiting or whatever, but in reality he was actually just like living in the dorm with him. Yeah. So that I think like,
that was super sad.
I think he was like 17 or something, and like they would have sent him to like foster care or something like that, and so their way of getting around it was that he was living with his brother who was at school. That was super sad. It was just like blankets on the floor, I remember. Yeah. Oh my god.
So sad. But yeah, I remember we did give him the money back because we were too sad about the entire situation.
Yeah. I think.
And then.
Don't we get in trouble with said drug dealer, Damon Merrick? Yeah. I'm pretty sure we get in trouble with him later on in the game.
Yeah, he comes back in way later. He's the one that does the thing, right? The one that...
What?
He does the thing! He's the one that does the thing!
What thing?
The one... He stabs Rachel, right? He does the thing!
Oh, yeah. He's the one that stabs her. I forgot about that.
I said he does the thing. It's him.
I didn't remember.
He's a bad guy.
He is a bad guy. But like, I know that you also like kind of get a glimpse of him, or that Chloe kind of gets the first glimpse of him in the first chapter, where you see his name like graffitied on the wall, because it was like
in the concert place.
Yeah, in the concert place. It's like part of the graffiti, which I love that you can choose to graffiti places, like in yeah, that's fun.
There's an achievement to do like all the graffitis, right?
I think
which we didn't get.
Yeah, I think we missed like a couple, and then we didn't get the trophy.
And then you can choose like what to graffiti to, which is fun.
Yeah, that is fun. I think you can go like, I think you can do like the system type shit, or like cutesy animals and stuff.
Yeah, because I remember vaguely, I don't know if this is right, that you can choose the blue butterfly from like the first game. I think you can like graffiti that somewhere.
Oh yeah,
I think. And then the deer as well, that is supposed to be Max. I think you can graffiti that too.
I have to say, like, the sad part about like all of Chloe's graffiti and stuff is that like she keeps shit in a journal, and then she'll write in the journal, but like it's to Max. Like, I feel like that is like the saddest shit ever, because like Max is a bitch. Like, honestly. Like, this is a game that I was like, fuck Max. Like, she was such an asshole to Chloe. Chloe needed her. She, like, made friends with Rachel, and then her girlfriend gets killed. Like, Max, what the hell, man?
She's awkward. She doesn't know. I feel like that would be me, because one of the times that I went to Florida, I literally didn't say goodbye to anybody, and I just left.
Oh my god. Did you really do that, though?
I really did that, and my friend was so mad at me because I didn't say goodbye. But that would be me, like.
I mean, that's fair, because I definitely remember I, like, asked you to grab lunch one day, like, when I was at school, and you were like, I'm in Florida. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah! I remember that.
Yeah. I'm terrible at doing stuff like that. Like, like, I'll be back. I'll see you again. Like,
oh, God. Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I understand Max, because once you're gone, you don't think, like, people remember you. And then you just kind of carry on with your life. It's weird. But and then does Chloe actually send the letters though? Because if she actually sent the letters and then Max didn't respond, that's an asshole move. But if she didn't send them at all, then Max will never know. She didn't send the
letters, but like I remember like they were Skyping at some point, and then Chloe like texts Max, and then like she won't reply until like 4 months later, or whatever, and be like, "Oh, hey, Chloe." Because that is an asshole. And I'm like, that's an asshole move. I was like, because
I would tell people. Because I would tell people, like, they would ask me for things, and I'll be like, I'm not there. I'll be back in like January. And that's what I would tell people. But yeah, if she doesn't respond, that is definitely an asshole move.
Yeah,
like 100%.
But I think she left like very, very soon after her dad died, so it was kind of like Chloe was left without a real support system.
Yeah, that's fair. That sucks.
Yeah.
That's rough, buddy. That's my Avatar reference for the day. Anyway, so they decide whether they want to keep the money or not. Then that's when the fucking the Tempest, they're doing that play on the Tempest. And then since Rachel started the wildfire, one of the players can't make it to the school, so they have to find a substitute because, you know, the show must go on, like theater and some shit. I don't know. And Rachel somehow has to convince Chloe to play that person's part in the play. And
I don't think it took that much convincing, honestly.
Yeah, Chloe was like, Rachel, okay. And she says, yes, I'll go into the thing. I don't know the parts, but I guess I'll memorize it in like 10 minutes. And they get her into this getup that's really, it's all feathery and shit. It's pretty cool.
Which then fit her perfectly, by the way.
Yeah, their costumes were pretty good. Yeah. It was really good. And then Chloe goes around. She has to talk to people. The costume person to get her in the getup, and then the person does her makeup. They do it really nice, like all pretty like. And then she goes on stage with Rachel, and they do the Tempest, and it's really gay.
It is okay. And do you remember when we were playing that, and I like took pictures of the script?
Yes.
Because neither of us could like remember what the hell it was, so I was like, wait a minute, we're gonna just take pictures of the script so that we can like do this correctly. And then I remember we also like missed our mark on one of the things, and we like went over to that rock, right? And we just like sat down and like didn't do anything because we were like, I think this is where it's supposed to go. And then like Chloe was just sitting there, and we're like, what's supposed to happen?
And we're just sitting there dumb. Yeah, that was funny. That was really funny.
Didn't Rachel have to like repeat her line like a couple times before we were like, oh wait, we're in the wrong spot?
Yeah, that definitely happened. Because I think we had to make her go onto the ship, but then we sat on the rock, and then Rachel was just like repeating the line, like trying to get us to go to the right place, and we're just dumb, like, I don't know what to do. I've never read The Tempest.
We were just like, I don't remember. In the right spot. Yep.
Yeah, that was funny. That was really funny. I really like that scene though, like the costumes, like leading her through it was kind of hard just because I don't know if you've read it, because I never read it. I was more of a 12th night kind of gal.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, I read The Tempest like once, but it was like for school assignments, so the alcohol's really kicking in now.
I like 12th night because of the cross-dressing.
I mean, let's be honest, like, I was like the gayest shit ever, and it was amazing.
Anyway, they do the Tempest. Then, after the play, they decide to leave Arcadia Bay with each other because they're gay. Anyway, they decide to leave, and Chloe's truck that she fixed up, and so then they go to Rachel's house for some reason so she can get her stuff.
You're missing a kiss.
I'm missing. Oh, well, no, they decide to go to Rachel's house, and then they're like walking to her house, right? And then they just kiss in the middle of the street.
Oh yeah, I thought they were like, oh wait, let's leave Arcadia Bay like after they kiss. Because
I don't know, but they decide to go to.
And they're like walking the street, and they're being like, all like happy and like super gay, and then Rachel is like, oh, like, I think she's like, oh, do you want like a reward for like doing the Tempest or whatever? And Chloe's like, bitch, I want to kiss.
Is that the dialogue options? I don't remember that, but that's fair.
I know.
I can see it happening.
I know it was like a tattoo. And it was like the kiss. And then it was like, I think her brain.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
But you had the options, and like, I remember you and I stayed up until like god awful early because we were like, we have to get the kiss.
Yes, that was our number one goal.
Yeah, we didn't care about anything else. Just kiss.
We fucking did it though. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's what. I just remember it was on the street. That's my. That's my memories of it.
Because then I love that they made that canon though, because it was only hinted at in the first game, and you were kind of just like, maybe.
Because it's when she's like sobbing right over her body, and she was like, "I loved her."
Yeah,
that one, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Remember
and then
that.
Also, like, I think we already
shit.
know from the beginning now, like, Chloe's probably bi or lesbian because she's got like a journal entry that talks about like the last time she was masturbating, Triss from Blade Runner popped into her head, and you're like, oh no, that was in Before the Storm.
I don't read
Before
those.
the Storm. If you read, I loved reading the journal.
I feel like we read them, but I don't remember them at all.
Okay, no, that's fair. I kind of remember some things from the journals, but not really.
And then they go to Rachel's house to pack, and that's in between. The kids in between all of that. And then they find out, I think they're going to dinner at their house, right?
Yeah.
And then
they were going to go in to like pack up all Rachel's shit, right? And then go. And then they're like intercepted.
Yeah, but then
by the parents, right?
Yeah, intercepted by her mom, because her mom was like, stay for dinner, Chloe, like, this is so cute, Rachel never brings anyone home. So then they make dinner, and then they're in their dining room eating shit, and then that's when Rachel decides to just blow up about her dad and seeing him kissing some other woman at the park the other day. And then the father reveals finally that that was her actual biological mother, and that she was a drug addict. So he got married to Rachel's new mom, which isn't her real biological mom.
Stepmom.
But yeah, her biological mom adopted her to Rachel's mom and her actual biological father. But then they find out this secret, this family secret, and then that's the end of that episode, I believe.
Yep. There was like, it was a whole dramatic moment too, because like Rachel does the whole like slam on like the dinner table, and you're just like, oh, what's gonna happen? And then I think you get the choice of like Chloe to like interfere and be like, no, Rachel, don't say anything. But then like no matter what Rachel says, like, bitch, I saw you kissing some strange woman who I don't know is my mother.
Yeah.
But then her dad is like, whoop, got you there, because JK, it is your mom. Your biological mom. The person you've been calling mom is your stepmom. And so Rachel's like, what the fuck? Right. And so the next day they're at school, because apparently they're like, this is a big enough revelation that like Rachel's like, well, no, we can't leave Arcadia Bay now because I have to like figure out what happened to my mom, like I have to meet her and stuff like that. And her dad's like, no, like that can't be a thing. So her mom's name is Sarah, right? And she like wants to like reunite with Rachel, and her dad's like, no, I don't want you to fucking do that, right? And her mom's like, bitch, I want to see my daughter. And so Chloe gets it in her head that she's gonna be like, okay, well, Rachel's my girlfriend now because we kissed, and so like we're obviously a thing now. And so Chloe's like, well, I'm gonna find Sarah. I'm gonna get her and Rachel to get together. Rachel's mom is like a drug addict or whatever. Chloe is like, well, she's gotta have like a connection to Frank. Like Frank must know her. Like she's a drug addict, whatever. Like druggies like run in the same circle. And so she and Frank like meet at the graveyard. Oh, junkyard. Foreshadowing.
Graveyard?
Rachel's graveyard. She's like, well, I want to know stuff about Rachel's mom. I think. I don't remember that for real or not. I'm just pretending that's what they talked about because I think that's what happened, but I'm not sure. Yeah, so Rachel's there too. I don't remember if she like came later or she was with Chloe. I'm pretty sure she was with Chloe because they're girlfriends, so why wouldn't they be together? Damon Merrick dude shows up, right? Chloe's like, oh fuck. Rachel's like, oh fuck. And this dude like whips out a fucking knife, right? And he's like, bitch. And I think that was because it was because he realizes that like Rachel's father is like the district attorney, and he was like, oh shit, this bitch is gonna snitch on me, right? So he's like whips out a knife and he's like bam 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 and like stabs Rachel in the arm. It wasn't really that violent, but wait, that was stabbing. So like yes, so it was that violent. So Rachel gets like stabbed in the arm, and then I think that's where you told me that there's like actually a vein in your arm that like connects to your heart.
Yeah, it's the brachial artery.
Yes. So she like gets stabbed, and I think it like misses by like an inch or something like that. And then so Rachel's like fucking bleeding out on the ground, and Chloe's like, holy shit, what the fuck, what do I do? And so Rachel is like rushed to the hospital, right? And then that's when the doctors like confirmed what you said, and they were like, yeah, they missed a vein that like connects directly to your heart. So like she's gonna be out for a while. Like she got stabbed and shit, but she'll be fine. She'll just have like a dope ass scar or whatever it is. And Chloe's like, well, I need to like investigate more. And so she breaks into like Rachel's dad's office because I think he's trying to like get dirt or whatever on Merrick. And so Chloe's like, well, I can help. Like this can also help me to like find like Rachel's mom and then help Rachel and like all that kind of stuff. But instead she finds out that like Rachel's dad was like in connection with like fucking Merrick, right? And so she's like, gasp. There's some shit going down here. So she steals Rachel's dad's phone, and then she gets information from Damon about where Sarah is. I think that's when she uncovers that like Rachel's dad wants to get her mom killed, right? Because she like uncovers this whole plot. And then I think that's the time where like Elliot shows up. Fucking okay. Can we talk about Elliot, by the way, who is like the creepier, worst version
the creepier Warren?
The creepy Warren. He's the creepy Warren. That's exactly what he is. Because he's like the creepy Warren, and he's like, he shows up in episode 1, and he's like, oh, hey, Chloe. Like, trying to be all cute and shit like Warren, but bitch, he is not a Warren.
No.
He's an Elliot.
Okay.
Elliot with one L.
Disgusting. I hate that. I have a friend named Elliot. He's cool, but this Elliot, big, terrible, awful bad.
Exactly. This Elliot's bad. And he, like, shows up and, like, I think you have to, like, backtalk your way into him, like, not calling the cops or whatever, or, like, I don't think it's backtalk in that situation. I think it's more of, like, a distraction. Like, just to do something, talk to him and be like, wait, no, don't call the cops on me. So I think that's what that is. I don't necessarily think that one counts as backtalk, despite the fact that it shows up as backtalk, and you only have, like, I think you have, like, 3 or 4 chances on that one, and then Elliot only has, like, the one. Like, Elliot only needs to beat you once, and then it's like, fuck. The cops are coming, and then you gotta, like, fucking book it or some shit. I think Elliot either gets arrested or he's able to be like, what the fuck, you called the cops, and goes absolutely psycho. So then Chloe goes to some place, and I think it's a park or something like that. And then Chloe meets up with Rachel's mom. So yeah. Chloe meets up with the biological mother, and Sarah's like, please don't tell Rachel. Don't tell Rachel about, like, her dad wanting to get, like, Sarah killed or whatever. But either way, you end up back in the hospital with Rachel. And then that's when you have the choice of, like, telling Rachel the whole truth or, like, siding with her dad and being like, no, like, I'm really sorry. I couldn't find anything about your mom. Like, you should just leave it be or whatever.
What did we pick? Because I legit don't remember.
I think we chose to tell her the truth.
Okay, that's what I was thinking too.
I think we did that just because, like, I remember we got the cutscene in which Rachel actually gets to meet her mom, and there was, like, a whole emotional moment, and we were in the hospital room with, like, Rachel and her dad and Chloe, and Rachel asks you, like, oh, like, what did you find out or whatever, and then that's kind of, like, when it triggers that scene of, like, what do you say, what do you do? I think we chose to side with Rachel and be like, hey, we talked to your mom, here's who she is, here's what you get. And I think that was just because, like I feel like Rachel deserved to know the truth about her mom.
Yeah.
She's been lied to her whole life, I think, and I think having that truth from Chloe, like, says a lot about them. And I think it's kind of when you understand that, like, Chloe gets it. Like, Rachel, I see a lot of people saying that, like, Rachel was only using Chloe, like, it's a purely manipulative relationship, like, because, like, Rachel's super popular, like, she doesn't need Chloe or anything like that. And I think this is, like, the first glimpse that you get that, like, Rachel genuinely likes Chloe. And they actually get along, and they actually do really like each other enough that Chloe loved her, and I think Rachel felt the same way, and I think that moment explains it all. I think if you choose to lie to Rachel in that moment, then you're sort of doing the same thing that Rachel's dad did to her. You're lying to her. And I think for Rachel, like, the reason she loves Chloe is because it's about truth with her. It's about being real. Like, Chloe has had so many hardships in her life, and she wasn't secretive about any of it. And I think that's something that Rachel admired about her. So I think in that moment, it was kind of like the defining moment of their relationship, whether Chloe is just, like, a really good friend that Rachel likes, or if they truly had something, then it meant something to each other. And I think if you choose to tell Rachel the truth, then it is that defining moment of they really love each other. And I think that's what progresses their relationship.
That makes a lot of sense for, like, their characters as well. Just because you said that Rachel has been lied to her entire life, and hearing that truth from Chloe just solidifies that in her brain, that Chloe is someone who she can trust, who that she can actually love, and that's defining character moments for both of them.
And I think they find solace in each other because for Chloe, Rachel is somebody who has this beautiful, this perfect life, and Chloe doesn't have that. And I think she can live vicariously through Rachel, but at the same time, she understands that, like, despite the fact that Rachel seems perfect on the outside, her family situation is almost not that different than her own. And so I think they find that common ground together, and they're like, hey, we're both fucked up people, let's be fucked up together. And I think that's that's really good for both of them. They were able to find that. And then it fucking sucks that Rachel fucking dies. But all of that aside, I think, I know there were a lot of bad reviews for Before the Storm, and I think that's because they chose to incorporate that final cutscene where they showed snippets of the first game, where you see Rachel's binder in the dark room on the shelf.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people were like, why the fuck would you put that in there? And I was like, technically, we already knew what was going to happen. We know that Rachel dies. And I think they gave us a glimpse of like the beautiful moments that Chloe and Rachel had together in that final cutscene. Like the tattoos that they were getting together, Chloe finally dyeing all of her hair blue. But yeah, that little snippet at the end was like a little stab in the gut of like, oh my god, yeah, I forgot that she dies.
Yeah, they did a really good job of fleshing Rachel out as a character, and her having her own like motivations and her own life. Basically, she was a really real character in this game, and her interaction with Chloe definitely defines that. But you know that she dies, and that just makes it more and more heartbreaking as you play through it. It fucking sucks.
For sure, I agree with that. And I think like Loki, I feel like that's like the worst part of playing the game, is that knowing that she dies at the end. And so I feel like as you're playing Chloe, you want to make her life as rich as possible, because you know she's gonna die in the end, and you want to fill her life with so much joy before that happens, because there's nothing you can do to stop that.
That makes, I think that's how we played it too. We're just like, we want Rachel to experience everything before she inevitably dies.
Yeah.
Which really fucking sucks. Like, I like these games so much, but all of them are a bummer.
Yeah, I know, they're all extremely heartbreaking. Even the DLC, which you shall cover in the next couple minutes, the episode of Farewell was also extremely depressing. In the sense that you knew exactly what was going to happen, because you get to play as Max for the last time, and you're just like, holy shit. And you know that you're leaving, and you know that you're going to leave Chloe alone, and you're not going to talk to her again until you reach high school. And then the first time you meet her again is when she fucking gets shot and dies in the bathroom. And so I think even as you're playing Farewell, you want to give Chloe the sense of like, we still love you no matter what type of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, please take us into the bonus episode of Farewell.
So the bonus episode Farewell is it takes place before Max leaves Oregon to Seattle with her parents, and it's the last moment that she has with Chloe before everything inevitably changes with Chloe's dad dying. So you go to her house, and the entire time you play as Max, the entire time you have this conflict inside of you of whether you should tell Chloe that you're leaving or if you shouldn't. The entire day it's kind of constructed by William, Chloe's dad. He created this pirate adventure for you as you go throughout their house and into the backyard, and that was hinted at in the first game as well. Like, when you were small, you and Chloe both were pirates in these adventures that you had in your imagination, and William just he piled onto that and made this entire like treasure map for you and buried something for you. So as you're playing through this game, you kind of learn a little bit more about Chloe and Max herself as you're going through this, and then you go through these little intimate moments, and as you play through it, you're asking yourself, since you're Max, you ask yourself like, should I tell Chloe? Should I not tell Chloe? And that's like the defining characteristic through this entire bonus episode, and it kind of fucking sucks, like really bad, because no matter if you decide to tell her or not, her dad dies, and you get to see that firsthand when Joyce comes home and tells you that William got in a car accident and he didn't survive it. And by that point, as Max, you don't think that you should tell her, but I don't know. Did we tell her or not? I don't remember if we did.
I don't think we told her. I think no matter what, I don't think you can tell Chloe. And I know that you get to tell her in a cutscene. You explain that you had to leave, like in a recording that she leaves Chloe, and it's like days after her funeral. And I think this episode is what redeems Max as a character. Because in Before the Storm, like, you get to see Chloe's heartbreak over Max leaving and then their lack of communication. You're kind of like, well, Max is a fucking asshole. Like, she didn't do shit to, like, keep their friendship. Like, in the first game, you're like, oh my god, Max and Chloe, like, it's so great. And then in Before the Storm, you get the gravity of the situation that Chloe was left in. You get to see that, like, she was heartbroken over her dad's death, as rightly she should be. And then you see why she turned into, like, this rebellious figure, because, like, she didn't have an emotional support. She had her mom, who was grieving in her own way and chose to grieve by hooking up with David. David was like, oh, well, you're just taking a fucking vacation from having a parent. And Chloe really, like, didn't have any way to express herself besides, like, her journals. And even the journals, like, nobody read them. So there wasn't another person for her to lean on to support. And so I think that's why part of her relationship with Rachel was so important to her. This farewell episode was crucial, I think, to Chloe and Max's relationship, because then you get to see that, like, okay, Max did care, but Max is also, like, that socially awkward person who doesn't really know how to express feelings that well. And I think that's the first glimpse.
She's incredibly socially awkward.
Yeah, exactly.
You get to play through that firsthand in the first game as well, but it's first touched upon here when she literally can't bring herself to tell Chloe that she's leaving. And it's like expedited. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's just enhanced by this feeling that she was at Chloe's house when they got that news that her father died. And then at that point, like, what can you do? Like, you can't tell her, it's just going to make her heartbreak even more. But if you don't tell her, then you're the asshole because you're leaving in fucking 3 days. It's an impossible situation, and it just... The way that Life is Strange and Before the Storm tells these stories, and I'm assuming, like, Life is Strange 2, because that shit's fucking heavy as well. Yeah. But the way that they tell these stories is incredibly real, and it really, like, hits your heartstrings as you're playing through them.
For sure, it, like, pulls at your heartstrings, and I remember listening to Max's final message to Chloe, where she's saying her goodbyes, and it feels like a permanent goodbye, and it's, like, so heartbreaking. I remember, like, I was, like, holding back tears because I'm a pretty emotional person, and, like, I cry at, like, pretty much everything. And I remember during the part where Max was saying goodbye, like I was feeling Chloe's grief too, because, like, her dad just died, and then Max is saying goodbye, and then, like, you really get the sense that Chloe is, like, all by herself.
Yeah, like, you have this mom that she was leaning on their dad, and since her dad is suddenly gone, her mom has no one in turn to lean upon, and then Chloe has no one, like, she can't lean upon her mom because her mom is going through this heartbreak as well, and it's just very, very sad, especially because Max is leaving and she can't provide the support.
I think that if people allowed her to express her grief without saying, like, oh, she's just a rebellious child, she's only, like, 16, 17 years old, she's still a kid. Like, that's a lot.
I feel like they're a kid. They're even younger than that, because they're not even at Blackwell yet. She's fucking probably, like, 12 or 13.
Yeah, that's true. And then Max was gone for, like, what, 3-ish years? Longer?
Yeah, so if I'm, like, doing math right, because I'm, like, terrible at math, this would probably take place the year before Chloe enters Blackwell, and that would be about high school age at 13, 14. So they would both be about 11, 12, 13 if they're on the older side. And then Max doesn't even come back to Oregon until she's in her junior year, senior year at Blackwell, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So that's like 3 or 4 years later. Chloe had to deal with this by herself for like 3 years at least. At the very least.
And, like, that's tough, especially, like, even like, a year is tough, but, like, 3 years of being, like, by yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you
can't even count on your own mother.
Exactly. And, like, I love Joyce, she's a really good character, but, like, I think in a way Joyce kind of, like, neglected Chloe a little bit, in the sense of, like, she didn't know how to handle her own grief, and didn't know how to be there for Chloe, and so she just simply wasn't. And so she found solace in David. And I think
Which
David was kind of the wrong choice. Like, I love that he loves Joyce, and I love that they are happy together. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't think David was the right choice for Chloe, because he lacks a certain empathy that I think Chloe needs. And Chloe, I think, only saw him as a replacement for her father, which is something that she didn't ever want to do, because she never got the chance to properly grieve or express, like, why she was feeling the way that she was feeling.
And especially, like, David is this kind of person where he's, I don't want to say type A, but he's kind of type A.
He is kind of
where he's just totally, he's in control of everything. He puts cameras in their houses. He wants control of every single detail of Chloe's and Joyce's lives. And I don't think that's the right choice for either of them, to be honest. But Joyce loves him, I guess. I don't know. But then he is 100% not the right person for Chloe. And the only reason that he can be redeemed is because of that first of Life is Strange, like the original Life is Strange, is because he helps get Max out of the dark room. And that's the only way that I can what's that fucking word? Shit.
Redeem him?
Yeah, redeem him.
Yeah, and I think though that it was because like you said, like it was because of the dark room episode where you get to see that like he genuinely cares. But I think if he showed that a little bit more, especially to Chloe, or especially like, hey, if he's like sat her down and was like, hey, listen, like I can't understand what you're going through. Like I've never lost anybody like that, but I want you to know that like I'm not replacing your father. I think if he just sat down, had that like heart-to-heart conversation with Chloe, then it would be more acceptable, I think. I think Chloe would have respected that and been like, okay, I understand that you're not here to replace my dad. I understand that you're not here to try to control my life. Like, I think Chloe would have had sense enough to understand that.
But that's a fact, like, he never does. He's just so fucking stupid.
I think that's one of like, David's flaws, is that, like, he doesn't understand that he needs to communicate that clearly with Chloe. Like, he just I think David automatically assumes that Chloe understands that. Like, he's not trying to replace her dad. I think he just doesn't understand that, and that's what causes the strain.
She's a kid. She is a kid, like, when this all is taking place, but David sees her as, I think, like a young adult, and that she should automatically see all these things that he assumes that she's, like, perceiving and taking and knowing, but she doesn't. Like, she is just a kid. She's still in high school, and he's putting too much on her, and he underestimates her, I think. Or overestimates her?
I think overestimate is the right word.
Yeah.
I think
he overestimates her.
That everybody can think the same way that he does.
I think that's hinted at pretty well. Oh my god, I'm very drunk.
Me too, yeah. So why don't we wrap up this episode? Thank you for watching. Please stay tuned. Next time we will cover the amazing adventures of Captain Spirit.
If you want to see more, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. Let us know what game you want us to drunkenly ruin next.
Oh, by the way, it's gone.
Jesus Christ.
Moving on to the next bottle.
Our big cheers, because we're big weaves.
Kanpai.
Kanpai.